In the past, there was many times where I was just aimlessly navigating throughout the day, floating from one thing to another. I lack any feelings of intense motivation or drive, and it was in this state where I would typically slip back into my self-destructive behaviors. You know, I'm sleeping in, watching porn, zoning out on YouTube videos, or even doing tasks that kind of feel productive, but deep down, I knew the days are being wasted. I'm not getting where I need to be. And when you're the type of person that wants more out of life, this feeling is terrifying. I felt lost. I remember loving to sleep infinitely more than being awake, because I guess when I was asleep, the consciousness, all the voices inside my head telling me I'm not doing enough, I'm not on the right path, I don't know what to do, went quiet. And I didn't realize this at the time, but this was due to an intense lack of clarity, intention, and a core goal. And I say core goal because once you go through this video and create yours, every other goal falls within it, and everything you should be doing day to day falls within that. And you might be thinking, oh, well, no, Kenny, I already have some goals. And if you do, that's actually good news. It's going to help us when we create your framework later in this video, but I'm talking about a whole new level of clarity, structure, motivation, and the ability to operate in your day-to-day life with elite levels of intention and focus. And the lack of these things is what dooms people to aimlessly wandering the majority of their lives, chasing shiny objects, things we think we want but don't, or even eventually succumbing to the siren call of cheap pleasures to waste our days away until we're trapped in a mediocre job that pays a mediocre wage and live in a mediocre pod or apartment. And if you're thinking that life, no, that doesn't sound so bad, I'm cool with that, I highly suggest you either raise your standards or perhaps this channel and the content isn't for you, because I am going to take you off that path. But first off, we must understand that we have been severely misled. In school, we were just taught to set a goal to know enough to get a certain score on the test. Whether it was just a pass or if you were gifted and wanted to ace the test, doesn't matter. The goal was just to get a certain score on a test. And the education system, paired with societal pressures, then tells you, get a degree, and use that degree as leverage to get a decent paying job. And there we go. Woohoo, you did it. There was no class that taught you how to discover the true goals you want deep inside, how to actually achieve them through framework and daily habits. And this reality hit me in my senior year of high school. Teachers and counselors are telling you to select a college and figure out a path for scholarships. My family asking me where I'm gonna go, what I'm gonna study. All my friends are announcing the schools they're gonna go to. And despite my main interest still being creating YouTube videos, I let the pressure get to me. I selected a safe, high-paying job, like, oh, I want to be a physical therapist. I selected the school that I was going to go to, and I enrolled and took 2 semesters of my local community college. Until finally in 2019, I gained just enough clarity to snap out of it, and I dropped out. Now for some, yes, college will be part of your path, but more often than not, it is the path prescribed to someone, not what they truly chose. And then once you leave high school or college and enter society, suddenly society is projecting all these goals onto you that you should have and strive for. Make this amount of money to buy this thing, sleep with this many people, buy this kind of house in this kind of area, and die. Over time, it becomes easy to confuse these beliefs with our own, but on a long enough time horizon, we will realize it does not fulfill us. But you know me, I dropped out of college and moved to a city, so I escaped that matrix, right? And yet even all that, knowing I wanted to be a YouTuber and eventually getting a job as a freelance YouTube video editor, it wasn't enough. And that's when I entered that situation I described earlier, that depressed state. But what I didn't understand at the time that I do now is there is one shift you can make that will completely change that. Change everything. Imagine waking up with immense purpose, motivation, and clarity on exactly what to do. You're operating at this almost superhuman level of focus and confidence because you are certain you are on the right path. And once I reached this point, so much of my mental suffering, my sense of being lost, evaporated. I don't drag myself out of bed desperate for some caffeine. No, as soon as I wake up and my eyes open, I have a sense of purpose. And because I have a framework in place, I know exactly what to do for immense results, immense productivity, immense levels of focus. This is how the successful operate, with immense levels of clarity and intention every single day. And I realized the longer I went And the longer you go without operating this way, the longer results take in the more time that we waste. And as a reminder, time is a finite resource. Our time here is quite limited. So it is time to stop navigating life like it's this dark room and we have to bump around hoping we're heading in the right direction. Probably not. So here's how to flip the switch, pun intended, and make failure completely unreasonable. First, you need to raise your awareness. This is how you're going to gain a deeper understanding of both yourself and the world around you, which is just an extension of your awareness. And this is non-negotiable if you wish to gain clarity on the what, why, and how of your core goal. You need to raise your self-awareness to a level where you can identify what thoughts, beliefs, and feelings are truly stemming from you, and what's being brought forth by things like your environment, people around you, online influencers, and the news. Then you can discard any of these that are harmful to you. And the first step of raising awareness is to start reducing and filtering your inputs. An input is everything that enters your consciousness, meaning the things you watch, hear, feel, or think. If you are constantly being subjected to thousands of pieces of information through social media, TV, music, and even the people around you, it is going to be impossible for an original output to surface. And even if you do have little moments of destimulation, the things that surface will often just be a regurgitation of a recent input. This is why you hear so many gurus talk about dopamine detoxes. They may not fully understand it to this level of depth, but they've done it and have experienced the benefits of limiting their inputs. So things you can start doing immediately is reduce your screen time, especially on apps that guarantee cheap dopamine and distraction. If you want a deeper understanding on dopamine, then check out my free guide. Anytime your mind feels full or cluttered, dump it into paper or a document. Question every decision you make and emotion you feel. And the biggest practice to increase your level of awareness is meditation for mindfulness. And if you want me to walk you through that, I have a free 5-day guided series in the description. And then when you do take in inputs, because it's inevitable, you need to filter them ruthlessly. Raise your standards for content you consume. Only listen to advice from those you wish to be like. Avoid people who instill low quality thoughts in you. And understand that you don't need to have music playing 24/7, especially music with lyrics, especially music with degenerate lyrics, because garbage in equals garbage out. If you continue to put in low quality inputs, your outputs will continue to be low quality. I've just recently gone through and further filtered my inputs, and I'm already noticing an increase in creativity, in original thoughts and ideas, and an increase in clarity just on my day-to-day things. Next up, you need to create an anti-vision. What does failure look like to you? For me, the biggest thing was a lack of freedom, not because I want the freedom to just travel around and do whatever I want, wake up whenever I want, take all the drugs, bang all the hoes, but because I want financial, time, and location freedom, because that would remove any forced restrictions on my life, and any restrictions I implement are disciplines that make me better. Think about what you would hate in life. I would hate not being able to get the partner I want, the lifestyle I want, the career I want, the relationships I want, all because I failed. So just open a document, grab a piece of paper, write down a list of all the things you do not want in your life, and use all these factors to create this vision of not only a life you don't want, but one that you would be terrified to get trapped in. Where would you live? What job? How much does it pay? What relationships do you have, if any? And what emotions would you feel on a day-to-day basis being in such a scenario? The more detailed and emotionally painful you can make it, the more potent it will be. And this anti-vision won't only serve as a motivation to get you to run away from it, but it's going to point you in the direction, the general direction of the core goal. Step 3 is to create your future vision. So kind of the opposite of what we just did. What do you want your ideal life to look like in the long term? You want this to be at least 10 plus years from now. What's the ideal life? Are you traveling? Do you work from a laptop? Do you work at all? What's your love life like? Do you live in a beautiful skyrise in the city? Or do you have your compound, homestead out in the country? I can't really give you an exact formula for this. It's pretty easy for me to say things that would be bad, but everyone's so individual and different. Your ideal future could be completely different from mine. So create this vision of the ideal scenario and make it specific. Later on, we are going to tie the core goal into this. Step 4, you need to start why maxing. Like Nietzsche said, he who has a why to live for can bear almost anyhow. And look, you aren't a blank slate, so let's take note of some of the goals and aspirations you currently hold, because these will be building blocks to help us build the core goal. Take note of all your current goals that could be achieved within 2 to 5 years. Remove all except the 3 most desirable ones. And then for each of the 3, ask why 5 times. An example of a shitty goal would be, I want to start a dropshipping business. Why? So I can make a bunch of money. Why? So I can buy my dream car, house, and clothes. Why? Because I want to be a high status person. Why? So I can sleep with attractive girls. Why? Well, I guess that's not a great reason. And if you can't why yourself to a truly authentic answer on why you want the goal, it's not a goal worth having. Compared to if my goal was 500k subscribers in 2 years, I could come up with plenty of answers for why. It's been my interest since I was young. I can build a business off it and gain financial freedom. I can help guys who are struggling like I once was in the largest amount. I feel immense positivity when I'm working on a creative project. I feel fulfilled gaining success and attention through ethical means compared to shady industries or practices. And that's just off the top of my head, but clearly there's so much more there than getting money and hoes. Don't get me wrong, some surface level goals are perfectly fine to have, but there needs to be plenty beneath the surface. Otherwise, it becomes much more likely that your progress is going to stop at the slightest bit of achievement or comfort. And that's not what you want. You want to actualize. So take the goals you found that actually have substance behind them, see if you can combine certain ones if they're close enough alike, and decide which one will serve as the ideal vessel to your future vision that we just created. Spoiler alert, for the majority of people, it's going to be something related to your career path, because the money earned achieving the core goal will help you achieve other aspects of your future vision. I'm not glorifying money, it's just a tool, but it grants you access to factors like better health and appearance through quality foods, gym memberships, trainers, more wisdom through traveling, mentorships, courses, masterminds, exciting relationships through status, fancy dates, and the confidence that comes from being successful, security for yourself and loved ones, and the ability to eventually pivot your career and create or do whatever you please. And once you realize this, suddenly that core goal gets a little more compelling. So be sure to frame this core goal in a way that can be accomplished within 2 to 5 years. Any longer than that, and we risk making the goal too far-fetched or losing clarity on it. But don't worry, this process evolves with you, and you can evolve your core goal in the future. Now, just having clarity on a core goal still isn't enough. We need that clarity every single day. And the way to do that is by building a Bender bridge. You can call it whatever you want, but it's my video, so I'm calling it that. So draw a timeline or a list, but I like timelines, with the end of it being your core goal. Then mark down 1 year from now. You can leave the space between the 1 year and the core goal blank for now. And then write a 1 year goal that, if you hit it, puts you right on track to hit that core goal. And then move in and write a 6-month goal or checkpoint that, if hit, puts you on track for your year goal. Then write a goal for this month that, if hit, puts you on track for the 6-month point. Then write a goal for this week that puts you on track for this month. Then write a goal for today that puts you on track for the week. Write the levers you need to pull today that put you on track for this week's, month's, 6 months, and year's goal. And of course, the core goal. And when you set shorter term goals, you need to make sure that they are a measurable achievement and not a unpredictable outcome. For example, I wouldn't make my goal for this month get 10,000 more subscribers, because there's too many aspects out of my control. I would instead make it something like upload 5 videos, test 20 titles and thumbnails, and finish a book that teaches me something applicable to my content. All of those things are things we can directly measure. And there you have it, your bridge is built. Now, each day you just need to write in your daily levers to pull. I highly recommend using a journal for this over a phone or computer, but put it somewhere that you can have easy access to throughout the day. I typically write 2 to 3 levers to focus on for the day, any subtasks within them, as well as any other notes, thoughts, or reminders I want to record or remember. And a bonus tip for this is make your monthly, weekly, and daily goals slightly more ambitious than what you're comfortable with. This slight bit of challenge is going to increase your ability to enter flow state and make you enjoy work more, because good dopamine is going to get released. And finally, this is crucial, the last step is you need to zoom in and out. Our minds are like a lens. You can zoom in to focus on something or zoom out to gain a broader perspective. So when you feel lost, zoom out to things like your year goal, core goal, and future vision. This is how you gain clarity on the big picture and remember your long-term intentions. And also, the more you do this, the more it instills those goals into your subconscious so it can work towards that as well. And when you do zoom out, that is when your subconscious gets a chance to surface new ideas, thoughts, realizations that are going to help you get towards your goals even faster, especially because you cleaned up your inputs. Then zoom into things like your daily goals, tasks, and subtasks. This is how you gain clarity on what to do right now and do them with a focused intention. The more you do this, the better you're going to get at it, and then when life tries to
overwhelm you or you hit a roadblock, you'll be easily able to zoom out, see the big picture, and realize the insignificance or even unimportance of the things that would regularly cause you emotional turmoil. I now navigate my days constantly zooming into my tasks and zooming back out through practices like meditation and going on walks. It's been keeping my mind super fresh despite the amount of work I've been doing behind the scenes, and just navigating my day with that clarity and intention. Please remember this. You are now on the right path. Therefore, gain fulfillment and positivity and happiness through it right now, through the process. Do not wait for all those positive emotions thinking they're at the end of the finish line. You can feel that right now. And once you raise your awareness, have your anti-vision, future vision, and core goal generated, build your Bender bridge, and zoom in and out when required, it will be unreasonable for you to fail. In the description, I have a free meditation guide and a free dopamine guide and my flagship self-development course that will eradicate your lack of focus, your insecurity, your distractibility, your emotional suffering, and lack of discipline within about 30 days. If you want to learn more about that, and I literally just tell you how I do it, you can watch the video on the landing page by clicking the link in the description for Mental Mastery. And finally, since you do have this core goal and everything lined up, let's increase your focus and performance day to day even more. If you want to do that, you can click on this video right here where I talk about how to use a couple tactics to get ahead of the majority of people in 3 to 6 months. Thank you for watching this entire video. I went super hard writing this script, like word for word, which I usually don't do. I just wanted it to be very precise and valuable for you. So if that's the case, I would really appreciate the likes and the comments and whatnot. That's it. Hope you learned something.